last week on Way Out West. Recently named sheriff of Rowdy Town, Dallas found herself in a heap of trouble when she discovered that the town's mayor was up to no good. With the help of her cousin Dusty, she uncovered the mayor's plan to work in cahoots with a railroad tycoon to force all the townsfolk to spend their days working on building a new railroad. Dusty and Dallas decided the only way to save the folks of Rowdy Town was to head way out west to Tumbleweed Canyon in search of a better life. If they find it, they'll come back and lead the folks of their town way out west too. To practice spending their days on the trail, they spent the night camping out on the range.
Baked beans. Gotta have the fuel to keep us going out there on that trail. Oh, shoo-wee! And baked beans will get you. Oh, poor Dallas didn't have much luck out there while we were practicing lassoing that cactus last night. Oh, bandanas. Sure can't have enough of these with the sun beating down on that trail. Howdy there, partner. Did the doc get you all squared away for our trip?
He had to remove all those cactus needles, one by one. But I hung on to this one to remind me to never do that again.
Ooh, doggy. That's a humdinger right there. Woo! That's the longest cactus needle I've ever seen.
Well, I'm glad you're impressed.
Hey, is that Doc's special prickly potion?
Yeah, he gave it to me to soothe the sting.
That stuff will help get the hitch back in your saddle in no time. Those prickly pokes will be gone in a jiffy. Now, I gotta tell you, I was kind of worried you want to back out of the plan after the whole cactus incident, but you're not letting that stop you.
Oh, watch it! I got cactus needle wounds everywhere, remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. But like I was saying, I'm real proud of you for not giving up.
Look, Dusty, there is something you need to know.
I mean, I already packed some of the stuff that we need, and we gotta hightail it out of here soon if we try to beat that afternoon heat.
Dusty,
okay? So
that is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not gonna hightail it out of anywhere. I'm not cut out for life on the range, and I am not going to Tumbleweed Canyon.
Well, for starters, there ain't no need for boot stomping. I'm just trying to help you. And what do you mean you ain't going to Tumbleweed Canyon? Have you forgotten that you found a letter from that hoity-toity railroad tycoon that is trying to come in here and take over everything in Rowdy Town?
Well, no.
And have you forgotten that Mayor Rowdy is working with him and has a plan to force all of these fine folks to spend their days working on that fancy railroad ahead?
No, I haven't forgotten that.
But you're the sheriff, and the people of Rowdy Town are dependent on you.
Oh, I should have never agreed to go way out west. I mean, look at me. I spend one night camping out on the range, and the next day I end up in the doc's office.
So you had a minor setback. You just gotta get back in the saddle.
I am not going to give up on saving this town, though, which is why I've got a new plan.
Oh, really? And what is that?
I'm going to talk to the mayor about all this. You know, see if I can reason him.
That's a great idea. That is a terrible idea.
I am serious, Dusty. Mayor Rowdy picked me to be sheriff, and that has to mean he trusts me, right? Maybe I can talk some sense into him.
Talking to the mayor ain't gonna matter a hill of beans if you ask me, but I guess I can't stop you.
No, you can't, because I'm the sheriff. And I think this whole thing could just be one big old misunderstanding.
Fine. You run over to the mayor's office, and I'm gonna go down to the well and fill our canteens up, just in case you change your mind after your little chat with the mayor.
All right, fine.
Fine.
Oh, why did I go talking to him about this? Now, even if I did want to go to Tumbleweed Canyon, I'm never gonna make it out of this town alive. Oh, finally. Now, maybe I should find a hideout somewhere. Oh, I can't let Mayor Rowdy find me again.
Yeehaw! Dallas, there you are. Hey, how you doing?
Dusty, shh, keep it down.
What tarnations is wrong with you? You're acting like a spooked pony.
I never should have done it, Dusty. I never should have talked to Mayor Rowdy. It was a real bad idea. He got so mad at me, he locked me up in the jail, and he took away my keys.
Oh, this is worse than I thought. How'd you get out?
Well, I picked the lock with my leftover cactus needle. I finally got the door open. I've never been so scared in my entire life.
Well, I'll be. You picked the jail cell lock with a cactus needle? That's some good thinking right there. What do you think he was planning to do with you?
Oh, I don't know, but whatever it is not good. He took my sheriff's badge and he told me to start minding my own business or I regret it. I gotta get out of Dodge soon. Oh, he told me he'd find me and figure out what to do with me later.
No, Dallas, get a hold of yourself, okay? Everything's gonna be all right. Just take a drink.
I don't think it's gonna be all right, Dusty. It's not gonna be all right. Just yesterday, I was a pillar of justice in this town, and now my face is gonna be on a wanted poster. Dusty, I'm an outlaw. Oh, I'm gonna have to spend my days traveling from town to town, just hoping I don't get caught.
Dallas, you are not the outlaw here. Mayor Rowdy is the one out there sneaking around, doing all those terrible things.
Well, the way I see it, I got two options here. I can either turn myself into Mayor Rowdy and sign up to be the first one working on the railroad, or I can just start running from town to town and be a fugitive.
No, no, no! No, those are not your only options here, all right? Remember, we can still go out to Tumbleweed Canyon, okay? You are the one who's gonna save Rowdy Town. You were born for this.
I don't think so, Dusty. I'm not the one to save this town. I just keep messing things up. And, oh, well, I know what to do.
Dallas, where are you heading?
Well, I'm gonna turn myself into Mayor Rowdy. Don't try to stop me, Dusty. It's got to be done.
Oh, no, you don't. I will lasso you. Get back here.
I sure do hope Dusty can help Dallas realize that she can trust God to be with her as they face the challenges on the trail. Otherwise, she just might end up in a whole heap of trouble here in Rowdy Town. Before we find out what happens next, get on your feet and enjoy one of Rowdy Town's local tunes together.
Hey there, how do you do? We're headed out west, but we're waiting on you. Kick up your boots and join the fun. Just follow along, watch how it's done. We're headed out west, and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. Do-si-do and howdy hi, saddle up, it's time to ride. Get on your feet, lickety-split, stomp your boots and just don't quit. We're headed out west and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. Spin your lasso round and round. Come on, partner, let's get down. Nowhere else we'd rather be. Come on and holler, repeat after me. Yee-haw! 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 Yeehaw! Yeehaw! We're headed out west and we're all in this together. it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. We're headed out west and we're all in this together. Get up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. Come on, get up, it's time to go.
Wild West Animal Race. Who will win? Will it be the turkey? Will it be the bull? Or will it be the horse? Bull wins! Giddy up!
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with a guitar on my knee. You know, trusting God with your life, it ain't always easy. No, sir. But it sure is important to do. If you recollect, I told you about this old boy named Moses, starting out when he was just a little feller, and how God cared about everything that had ever happened to him. You know, that didn't change for Moses when he got older. Not a chance. Later on in his life, Moses spent his days taking care of his father-in-law's sheep. Seems pretty ordinary if you ask me, but that was all about to change. Because one day, while Moses was with all of his sheep, he went up on the side of this mountain. And sure enough, as he was walking, he stumbled upon this bush that was on fire. Wouldn't you know it though, the bush didn't burn up. As he moseyed on over to get a closer look, God spoke to Moses from that bush. He couldn't believe his ears, but he was listening for sure. God told Moses that he knew about the trouble his people, the Israelites, were having, and that he had heard their cries for help. God then said that he would save his people by taking them from Egypt and leading them to a good land where they would be free from all of their troubles. But there was just one thing. God told Moses that he wanted him to go to the Pharaoh and ask him to free all the Israelites from being slaves and let them leave Egypt. Well, Moses wasn't ready to hear that sort of talk. He had doubts. I reckon he worried that Pharaoh wouldn't even listen to him. Or even if he did, would the Israelites want to follow him in the first place? So wouldn't you believe it, Moses still protested. And even though God promised to use all of his great power against Pharaoh, Moses was still saying things like he wasn't good at speaking on account that he stuttered a bit, and maybe God should just go and get somebody else to do it. Well, God decided to give Moses some help, and he gave him his very own brother Aaron. Well, Moses called Aaron up to speed on everything, all that had happened and all that God wanted him to do, and the two proceeded to round up all the Israelite leaders, and they explained exactly what God's plan was for his people. They all trusted that God cared about what was going on, and then they bowed down and worshiped him. That was the start of getting those Israelites out of slavery. And even though it didn't make sense to Moses why God would choose somebody like him to save the Israelites, well, Moses learned that he could trust God with his life. And when you know that you can trust God with your life, well, that's a mighty fine way to live.
I can trust God with my life.
Get on your feet to play, giddy up. Watch out as some wild things are headed our way. Pat your legs as fast as you can while the horse gallops. Jump over any obstacles on the trail as we ride into town. Yee-haw! Way to go! Now stay standing for another favorite tune from the Wild West.
We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. When I'm having a bad day, things aren't going my way, I know that God is with me. He's still there, He never leaves. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. I know that I can love You because You show me the way. Nothing can separate me from Your love. You are for us. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. You work for our good. You work for our good. You work for our good because You love us. You love us. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him.
Phew! I sure am glad I could stop you before you went over to the mayor's office. And you didn't make it easy either. You're pretty good at dodging my lasso.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that throwing that lasso around is really gonna help with things, though.
Well, you left me no choice. I had to make sure you heard that story about Moses before you gave up on our plans. I mean, even Moses doubted he could do what God was telling him to do.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
There were so many reasons Moses could have given up or chosen not to lead God's people out of Egypt, but Moses realized he could fully trust God with his life.
Well, that is true.
Look, I know heading out west seems scary, but just like God sent Aaron to help Moses, I'll be right there with you to help.
Well, it does help knowing you'll be out there with me. And most of all, it helps knowing that I can fully trust God. Let's do it. Let's go to Tumbleweed Canyon before I start having flashbacks to last night's cactus attack and change my mind. Now, you sure you got everything we'll need out on the range?
Everything I can get.
It sure is hot out here, though. You know, let's get a sip of water before we go.
Yeah, about that. Mayor Rowdy's dried up the wells and poked holes in all the water barrels in the entire town. There ain't a lick of water in this place.
Oh, man, this keeps getting worse and worse. We gotta get to Tumbleweed Canyon as soon as possible to save the people of Rowdy Town.
Oh, come on. I know the quickest way out of town.
Right. Now, you really think we can make it out there without any water, though?
Well, we'll definitely have to stop at Whistle Creek to rest and fill up our canteens. Whistle Creek's only a few miles down the trail. And just remember, no matter what happens out there, we can trust God with everything.
Oh, you're right. I'm ready now. They're already after us. Quick, let's get out of here. Woo!
My dearest son, Buck, I've got an important task for you. Dallas and Dusty are trying to sabotage everything I've worked for. They may have gotten out of Rowdy Town, but they won't step foot near Tumbleweed Canyon if I have anything to do with it. I want you to stop at nothing until they're buzzard meat out on that trail. Make them pay for trying to derail my plans. Sincerely, Mayor Jasper Rowdy.
They'll pay. I'll stop at nothing.
Well, well, well. It looks like that Mayor Rowdy is up to no good. Things are sure to be interesting as Dallas and Dusty head out into the Wild West in order to save the folks of Rowdy Town.
I can trust God with my life. For today's Rootin' Tootin' review, we'll pan for gold to see if we can remember something we learned today. After hearing today's question, we'll start panning. When you see gold letters, call them out. See if you can guess the answer before they all unscramble. In today's Bible story, who trusted God to use them to save the Israelites? Moses and Aaron. God gave Moses a helper, his brother Aaron. Together, they trusted God and saw that God had a great plan and purpose for their lives.
Heading way out west is always full of fun surprises. I'm so thankful for all that God said to us today. Let's bow our heads, close our eyes, and pray together. Jesus, thank you for caring for us and helping us see that we can always trust you, no matter what happens in our lives. Help us to trust you in everything we do. We love you. Amen.